It's 9 o'clock. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'd like to welcome you all to the supervisor meeting and all of you out in Zoom land. Our first order of business concerns Drainage District, branch 126. We're meeting with the landowners. Colin?
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, this is Drainage District 5, Branch 126. So a petition was filed for improvements earlier this year. And so then a firm was hired to investigate and make a report with recommendations. So we have done that, and those landowners here, there's copies of that in the back if you haven't got it. We did a report and then we also did an amendment. So after we filed the engineer's report, then we did an amendment, and basically the amendment was primarily concerning how the project would get paid for. We looked at the existing assessment schedule, and we'll talk about that more, but basically there's a lot of lands missing from it. And so really it should be reclassified to fix all the problems with that, and then also to set up how to pay for the project. So got the report. I'll kind of go through it here. And what I did with the handouts is that the report and the amendment are all stapled together in this pack. So the last 2 pages are the amendment, and then there's maps and things. So it's west of Terrell, basically between Terrell and Milford, and this branch, it's a branch tile system of the DD5 drainage district 5, which includes a large open ditch. So this branch drains approximately 2,500 acres of land. It's got tile ranging in size from 28-inch to 7-inch in diameter. That was put in over 100 years ago. Typically when we get a petition for drainage improvements, the first thing that we're looking at is the tile and what was put in there. We know that 100 years ago, the idea about how things needed to be drained, what was adequate, was different than what it is today. They didn't know about pattern tiling or plowing in plastic tile or anything like that. So they had a different thought in mind when they were designing these systems. It was also a lot harder to dig them in because they didn't have big excavators and things. So that's a common area that we start with looking at. And there's a map in the packet, and it looks kind of a colored map with reds and oranges. And that is the existing drainage coefficient for the branch 126 tile system. And what the drainage coefficient is kind of a design metric for agricultural drainage tile, and what it is equivalent to how many inches per day equivalent flow rate can that tile take over the land that it drains. Back 100 years ago, and it's consistent here, they were more like 1/8 of an inch to maybe 1/4 inch per day. And really for many decades, kind of the standard in this part of the state, and really the whole state, has been at least a 1/2 inch per day drainage coefficient. And so if you look at this map, you can see at different points along the line, you've got 0.1, as low as 0.12 inches per day, upwards of around 0.3 inches per day. So one thing that I kind of factor into the drainage coefficient conversation is what is the topography of the watershed we're trying to drain? So this particular one is a little bit different than many of them that I'm used to looking at because there's a lot of elevation. There's a lot of fall. From the very north end to the outlet, just the land itself, there's about 90 feet of elevation difference there. And the grades that are on that existing tile are quite high compared to a lot of them that I look at. So there is some surface relief. It's not like it's super flat and there's big potholes that fill up with water. Typically in those cases, we would look at even a higher drain, which maybe 3/4 of an inch per day up to an inch. So those are all things to look at. Now, with this project, the petitioner, if you're looking at that same map, at the very south end of the district in section 5, in the southeast quarter of section 5, that's the petitioner's land. So that's where the problem area was. And what I see there is that is one of, maybe not the only large depressional area in this watershed. And it's at the very bottom end of the district. So if that existing tile system is undersized, well, in water, it's kind of like the high man wins. If your water's higher than somebody else's, you can push through, and so that depressional area can fill up with water. There's an intake in it, and so water can even push up out of the intake and fill that depressional area, and then just sit water there while everybody else's water is draining past. And it's basically, it has to wait its turn, and it oftentimes would be about last. So that, and I talked to obviously the petitioner. I talked to several other landowners in this area. We sent out wetland letters. So people called me asking what this was all about. And when I told them the lands where the petition came from, they immediately recognized, like, yep, that's wet, like that's wet all the time, it's a problem. So anyways, that's kind of where I started, and I can say, yeah, this existing tile system is inadequate. And one of the options then would be to say, well, let's go ahead and try to upgrade this. A project like that would be quite expensive. And in talking with the petitioner and just looking at, what the main problem is and maybe lower cost alternative to fixing that, kind of where I gravitated towards was doing a small, basically a regrading project where we create a surface drain, but we get to the bottom of that depressional area and then doesn't have to be a grass waterway, but a surface drain or a waterway that goes downhill from there and can surface drain that out. So it's not a bowl anymore that just holds water. It actually can, over the surface, it can run out of there. The map, maybe to look at that, there's the third map in the packet. It looks like this. It kind of shows, and maybe it doesn't show a whole lot, but there's an intake that's a yellow dot on that map, and we would start at that point and then regrade to allow surface drainage of that depressional area. And there's I don't know what you call it. We call it an abandoned road. It's 300th Avenue on that map, and it's if there's not any sort of road there, and Jeff, is that correct? It was, that's abandoned, the county has nothing.
Yeah, I think it's based on the paperwork I gave you.
Yeah, and so at the point where surface water would cross that old road that isn't a road anymore. There's a box culvert there. The other thing that we'd be proposing to do as part of this project is tear that box culvert out. And widen that out, so if there's any sort of restriction or if that's holding water back at all, because that can happen too. If it's holding water back behind that old road, it's gonna build up even surface water coming from the north. And then back it up and dump it into this pothole depressional area. And so we don't want that to happen either. So, and I thought about this, but one thing is with the drainage district project, I don't love the idea of making a surface drain or a waterway a drainage district facility. Like to that, the drainage district is responsible for permanent maintenance of that. This sort of thing, you know, I'd anticipate, we're gonna try to make it in a way that you could farm through it. It's not gonna have some steep grade on it where it's gonna be cutting really bad, and it really could and should be able to be farmed through. And when you farm through it, it's gonna fill up some and not be perfect. So I guess my recommendation is that this be a one-time project for the drainage district to help address the problem with this depressional area. And another thing I thought through quite a bit was, okay, is this something that really should be done privately or through the drainage district? And kind of where I ended up with that is that, in my opinion, this should be a shared cost in the drainage district. And the reason why is because everybody else's water from the north is kind of is causing this problem in a sense. And so in my mind, it's reasonable to ask everybody to chip in a little bit towards this. It's not a very high project cost. Estimating 27,000 I had in the engineer's report, and in the amendment, I was talking about annexation and reclassification for an additional approximately 5,000. So a total project cost estimate of $32,000. And obviously, I mean, that's orders of magnitude less than if we were gonna do a comprehensive tile improvement project. And this isn't gonna fix every problem, but it's a kind of a low hanging fruit is how I view it. It's something that is plausible and cost effective and will address this problem quite well, in my opinion. As long as it's halfway kept up, like it's gonna help a lot, so water's not just standing out there all the time. And kind of circling back to the annexation reclassification stuff, if you look at the map on the last page of the packet, there's shaded red and blue parcels. It looks like this. Not to talk about it too much, but basically the red parcels are the parcels that are currently on the branch 126 assessment schedule. So if we do this project and we do not reclassify, only these parcels in red will pay. And you might notice there are no parcels in section 5 that are included in the existing assessment schedule, and that includes the petitioner's lands. I'm estimating there's about 900 acres, so I was talking about 2,500 acres total. Drained by this tile system. And 900 acres, I'm estimating, are missing from the existing assessment schedule. So when you look at it that way, it doesn't make much sense to use the existing assessment schedule to pay for this. So that's for this project and for future, it makes sense to reclassify, to bring all these lands in the way they should be. So that we're set up for this project and for moving forward. I guess those are kind of the main points that I wanted to cover. Are there any questions at all at this point?
Where you're gonna dump this, Colin, that goes into an existing waterway, or does it go all the way to the dredge?
Good question. So there's not like a grassed waterway there, but it is and I wish I had that. There's an elevation map and it's showing the whole watershed, so it's hard to look down right in that area, but that's the low spot where water already goes. So on the east side of that box culvert, like the water does continue to flow all the way to the ditch. There's not another depressional area or anything like that. It can continue to flow.
The box culvert's the restriction right there.
I didn't look at that too much. In the past, there was dirt like kind of building up on the east side of the box culvert. And that was something, but when a big rain comes, there's a lot of water that comes down through there. And I would not be surprised if that was a restriction. And in my mind, it's not a road, it's not gonna be. Let's get that out of there and just open it up so that it can't be a restriction ever. There is a little bit of once you get quite close to the ditch, there is a grass waterway, like the last, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 feet or something, but otherwise it just goes in the low spot through the field.
Whose property is that on?
Eddie Jackson.
This is Jackson.
Yeah,
What does he say about it?
I haven't heard anything from him. But I mean, they are in the existing assessment schedule. We would receive notice for this meeting and had opportunity to look at it.
Is that washing across his property?
Like cutting, eroding, you mean?
Yeah.
Not currently.
Not that I saw out there. Yeah, not that I saw, but actually in this whole drainage district branch, there's 90 foot of fall, and it kind of funnels down to a low spot where surface water already runs. And it kind of varies by landowner on how they handle that. A lot of them just farm through it. There are some places where there's grass waterways or things, maybe there's a steeper stretch. And it's eroded in the past, but it's kind of been landowner by landowner how that's handled.
If there's a lot of water coming through there, are you thinking of putting in a grass waterway or talking to him about that?
That would be up to him, I guess. Yeah, the stuff over the surface right now, like the drainage district is in charge of the tile as it is right now. So how surface drainage is handled within this area has been and will really continue to be outside of this one-time project, continue to be a private landowner by landowner decision, how they want that handled. So yeah, part of this, if we look at the cost estimate, I don't believe we included any seeding or anything like that. And if we were gonna force a grass waterway, for example, then we would need to make it a district facility. And we probably need to purchase right of way. If we're gonna dictate to a particular landowner, this is gonna be a waterway forever now, and you can't farm it, it's gotta be grass. There would need to be a right of way acquisition as part of that, so that's not something that I'm suggesting. Any other questions, comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So where this tile 26 meets the main tile, are you gonna close that off so that that water, you know, doesn't run back in there? Or are you just gonna leave it open and let it flow?
So this branch 126 tile outlets to a ditch
Mhm.
currently. So
Okay.
we're just gonna leave that all, we're gonna leave
Like
it
an
all.
open ditch
Yep.
there, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
How extensive of a reclassification are you looking at on this?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Just branch 126. So you could get quite wild, like it's pretty obvious to me that we're not looking at all of DD5. But within this branch 126, there's the branch 126 tile, and there's many different laterals. I'm thinking to just limit the scope just to the branch 126 tile, so a single assessment schedule and not opening it up any further than that.
So that keeps it at 5,000 estimate then on the cost of the reclassification.
Yeah.
Is that just the 900 acres in 5, or is there more of it north and west of there? That you were gonna reclassify?
No, just so,
So there was 900 acres in
yeah,
5.
there's 900 acres missing out of the schedule right now. So we would make a brand new schedule that would include all approximately 2,500 acres that benefit from branch 126 tile. So the preliminary boundaries, that red dotted line, that watershed boundary line, those are the lands that would be included as part of that. So it wouldn't necessarily be just adding those in and giving them a number and then leaving the others alone. It's kind of like saying we can't, we have to start from scratch on just that schedule. And I don't know how that schedule was done, and I think it was done in 85. Does that sound right, Jordan?
Yeah.
So it's been 40 years. I don't know what their thought process was. Sometimes they leave lands out on purpose. Sometimes when there's parcel splits or things, it doesn't get updated. Maybe in the drainage assessment schedules, and then they're off. They're off the schedule. That's kind of inadvertent. Any other questions, thoughts?
Will DNR pay their share of drainage assessments?
Yes.
Just making sure.
Historically, the state of Iowa has paid their drainage assessments.
US Fish and Wildlife does not.
Right, the federal
The
government.
state does.
Got it.
And maybe someday we can hope that'll change, but so far it hasn't been the case. Their position is that a drainage district cannot tax the federal government. And a counter argument to that is not tax, it's an assessment for a benefit. But I don't know, the courts, that have to be settled in court, Supreme Court.
Are there any further questions? Hey, good, Colin, you'd like us to vote on having this reclassified and also some annexation.
Yeah, and also just on moving forward with that that surface drain project with. And one other point on that before you vote on anything is, this is a small enough project that we can do it in competitive quotes rather than a public bidding process and bid bonds and things like that. And that's my suggestion with this, is that it be sent out to a handful of local reputable contractors. And the goal would be to do the work this fall after the crops are out. It's corn in there right now. So we wait till the crops are out and then have the work done. So,
Okay. And whose ever land this is on, don't be sneaking in an extra row of corn or beans and that grass waterway. Or dropping your disc a little early. I think,
yeah, it won't be grass. I don't think, well, unless they wanna plant grass themselves, otherwise we're just gonna grade it.
Yeah.
And then if they wanna farm through it, they can, but you're right, I mean, if they fill it, if they go across and fill it in. The drainage district's gonna do this one. That's just how it's set up.
do I hear a motion?
We want to do this, I'm sure, in 3 motions.
Mhm.
The first one to be to annex the outlaying lands into the DD5 branch 126.
Before you make a motion on that, so actually. The annexation would be just a small amount, because how annexation works
Yeah.
is if you're in DD5, and a lot of those, they're already in DD5, you don't have to annex them into a branch.
Okay,
We can, most of those. We can just make the assessment schedule and not have to annex. There's a little bit of like 20 acres.
okay,
Estimating of land that actually has to be annexed into DD5.
okay, all right. So then you want a motion to reclassify it first.
Move forward with the project
Yeah.
first.
People in it, and we want to go forward with it.
So. The one thing that I'm thinking about is if we annex. Those 20 some odd acres into DD5. But then they would only be in the branch 126 assessment schedule unless we monkey around with like the DD5 main open ditch schedule. Which. Bringing in 20 acres into, I mean, that drainage district has thousands
Mhm.
of acres. It may not be worth it. You could. I got a suggestion. You've got options here. You can choose. You can. Make a motion to proceed with annexation. And include in that I'm gonna look at it, and if it's deemed not to be worthwhile, then we'll just skip the annexation. And then just do reclassification. And so basically it would be leaving out a little bit of land, but then we don't have to mess with the whole DD5 main open ditch schedule. Although
What happens in the future if there's
They
something?
they wouldn't be in the
Assessment
district.
Schedule when I'm billing that out for just the main.
So, and I'm just thinking on the fly here. If we annex that in. And what I think I would suggest is I could. For the DD5 main open ditch assessment schedule, I wouldn't redo the whole thing. But I would basically take these additional lands and then add them to that DD5 main open ditch schedule. And then give them a benefit classification by just looking at. What are similar ones around them based on the existing schedule. So basically a simplified version that gets them into the drainage district for the future, but not having to redo the whole main open ditch assessment schedule. In my mind, that's not worth the money to do that. So we would get them into the schedule simply, and they'd be similar to the other lands around them in assessment or benefit. And we could do that as part of that reclassification. That would be my suggestion. So I guess circling back, I guess you're good to go with the annexation and the reclassification. If you want to add some of that language that I just mentioned, you can do that too.
I would make a motion that we reclassify the branch 126 of Drainage District 5 and annex those lands in on a modified schedule.
For the open.
To the
For the
main
open
open
ditch,
ditch
yeah.
and the branch 126.
Okay, we've got a motion.
I'll second that.
Moved by and seconded, further discussion. Hearing none. Mr. Steve,
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Now I believe we need a motion to continue with the grading.
Yes. I would make a motion that we get advanced with the project as outlined with a surface drainage depression and the removal of the box culvert so that it opens it up for surface drainage into the main open ditch.
Okay, Mr. Clark has moved,
Second that.
Mr. Dullard has seconded, further discussion. As there is none, Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Okay. Oh. Next, item 2. Actually, number 4, Drainage District 41 completion hearing.
So the other hearing we've got is there was a project done on the Drainage District 41 main open ditch. And if you look at any of the screens, it gets you an idea where we're at. There's Stony Creek, it's in the western part of the county. It's really not a very long open ditch. And a few years ago, the portion north of, that's 3 here, 250th Street. That was cleaned out, but that little part that says clean out that's in purple on the screen, that was not cleaned out as part of that project. Apparently it was not known at that time by whoever did it, that was also part of the drainage district open ditch. So we kind of had 2 different requests come in. One is to clean out that last about 900 feet of ditch. And then also at the very north end of the ditch, you see there's an arrow that's pointing and it says rock shoot. That was the other part of the project. And Jordan, if you want to pull up a photo like the pre-construction, yeah. So that's kind of what it looked like at the head of the open ditch there. There was no good way, there's 2,000 acres that can surface drain to that spot. So in a big rain, you've got a lot of water flowing over the top of the land, and you do have a district tile too. But the stuff over top of the land had no good way to get into the ditch. And it dumped over the ditch bank, and when you dump a lot over a steep bank, pretty soon it starts cutting. And then as it cuts, it keeps eating backwards, basically, it's head cutting. So it made a big gully there. And that's what the landowner of that property asked that be repaired. So a lot of times we would look at a surface drain pipe, like a corrugated metal pipe culvert that we stick up out of the ground to take water from the ground surface and then take it underground to get it to the bottom of the ditch. In this case, the area is so large and the flows after a large rain event are so high that a pipe like that was not going to work. So we looked at different alternatives to get the water into the ditch bottom, and we ended up doing a rock chute. And Jordan, if you want to pull up what it looks like. So it's that those are tied concrete block mats that are down the slope. And so it's this grid where there's these concrete blocks that are all tied together in these rolled up mats, and you can roll them out and tie them together. And so it's stabilizing that steeper slope. And then at the bottom, we've got riprap, and that's called a stilling basin. So essentially, the idea is, okay, we still got a steep slope that the water's got to go over. And then when it gets to the bottom, it's going to have a lot of turbulence, a lot of power. So you got to have this area for that turbulence to go and then kind of settle out and then go into the ditch. So you've got to stabilize that slope and make this stilling basin, and then you can get to the ditch where it should be, calmer water and not cause these problems. So that's just in a nutshell the work that was done. We put that, we put that out for bid in May of 2024. Pete Clausen out of Sibley had the low bid and was awarded the contract. The contract completion date was set for December 20th of last year. And you see that picture you see there was December 18th of 2024. So just before the contract completion date. One thing, the things that weren't done by December 20th were seeding and fertilizing, and then that stilling basin is riprap, and the bottom of that actually this spring, early summer was grouted. That was something that we called for as part of that to add even more strength in that stilling basin. So you put the riprap and then you pour grout in there to make it even that much more solid. So they weren't completely done by the completion date. However, in my mind, they had substantial completion. They had a couple other things to finish up after the contract completion date. In my mind, I don't think it's worth, trying to ding them for liquidated damages. But they weren't completely done until after the completion date. The final contract amount for the project, for the construction, is $83,625.90. And the contractor has been paid 90% of that. So with drainage district projects, state law dictates that we hold back 10% when we pay them, and it's retainage. And so basically how the process works is they do the construction, they're getting paid 90% of what they're owed. And then once we have a completion hearing and the work is finally approved, then 30 days after that, that retainage can be released to them. The idea behind that is if And it doesn't make as much sense here, but let's say we did a 2 mile tile project. And they're cutting through many different landowners' properties. A completion hearing like this gives those landowners an opportunity to say, hey, they left this, pile of rock all here and, or a variety of things. And so they could say there's damages that are the contractor's fault. And we could theoretically take that out of the retainage. So that's just kind of explain to you how all that works. So after 30 days after today, presuming the work is all approved, we would do one last pay claim to release that final 10% of payment to the contractor. There's also a 1-year warranty that goes with the work, and that would start, again, presuming it's all approved, would start today. So another year out, if there's stuff that comes up, we let the contractor know. They have to come back and fix it at no cost. One other thing in this, you can even just see it on that picture. In the upper right-hand side of that picture, you can see kind of a dirt pile. There are a couple dirt piles up there that were left. And so the landowner, actually it's the tenant that farms the property, wants that dirt, and there's nice grass there, and I thought spreading all this dirt around and wrecking that grass, especially if they want it, that's fine. So we left the dirt piles there, and they have a good use for it. So that's an interesting part of this is, and Jordan, maybe you want to go back to that first sheet we were looking at, not the PDF, yeah. So on the north side of 250th Street, on the west side of the ditch, there's a lot of, when it rains heavy, there's a lot of water that actually kind of bypasses the ditch, and most drainage ditches, when they dug them out, there's these spoil piles, so it doesn't all slope to the ditch. So it's built up. There's a spoil pile or berm, whatever you want to call it. And surface water will get on the outside of that and then run alongside the ditch and cut pretty bad. Like it's cut deep. And that's what they want that dirt for, is to fill that back in. And my understanding is that Pete Clausen is going to come back this fall after crops are out and do some regrading up in that area to try to, further to the north, Jordan, do some regrading, basically, keep going, from that fence just north of the end of the ditch, to regrade and basically make sure that water gets to the rock chute. We put it in this big rock chute to take all this water, and then a bunch of it is just going around and cutting out in the field. So anyways, that's something that's going to be happening this fall. That's between Pete and the landowner. It's a private thing. They're just making sure the water can get to the ditch. If that was not going to happen, we drove along the west side of that ditch. I was surprised to find that there are no surface drain pipes along there. So that's another thing. Water can just run along there, and there's no place for it to really get into the ditch. So it's been a problem. But if they do that regrading and allow that to get to the rock chute, they should be able to keep it out of the field, fill in those eroded parts, and hopefully that'll all work for them. I guess with that's the main things that I had, but obviously pending any questions or comments, I recommend the approval of the completion report and acceptance of completion of the contract with Pete Clausen Trucking.
I noticed in your one picture, there's also a large pile of rocks. What are those for?
So pull that picture up again. Is that to the
Behind
left?
Yeah. Behind
It's
the door.
possible at that point that could be That's one of two things, and it's hard to tell because there's some snow. But there was some of the dirt that they pulled out had rubble in it. And they did there was a. Right by where the tile outlets in, there was a bank slough. And they did put some of that rubble stuff to try to stabilize that bank. So it could be that. If it's not, it could be riprap. And this picture actually doesn't show the full extent of everything. So it actually kept going, like if you're looking at the picture, it keeps coming at you to the bottom left. And then it actually is a low spot below the ditch and then it jumps up. And then there's more riprap. So they may not have been completely done placing riprap at that point. That's another possibility. But that is not, there's not a pile of rock out there yet.
I was wondering if that wasn't what you'd be putting on the sides in case it started to erode. Cause if you just put dirt back, it's gonna erode.
Right, and that. The rock chute and stilling basin is all either that mat or riprap and riprap on the sides, as you can kind of see there, and the bottom has riprap in it too. Try to hold that for the long term.
Okay, thank you.
How long are you gonna give this guy to move that pile of dirt?
Well, the landowner is the ones that said that they would keep it. And
So it's up to
so
them.
Yeah.
it's
It's
their
off the
responsibility.
district Proper.
Colin, I want to thank you. I am the landowner. I'm not just that guy. And so we will take care of that. We had two big old swimming pools that were beyond any swimming pool you've ever seen in town because of the flood last year that eroded ground away. So we'll be using those
It's on the
piles for
private
that.
property, not on the drainage.
My question is, south of 250th Street, you had that clean out area.
Yeah.
You said that wasn't done. When will that be done?
Oh, it was done.
Okay,
I
it was
apologize
done.
for any confusion.
Okay,
In maybe 4 years ago or so, it was done as a separate project to clean out north of 250th Street. And at that time, they didn't do that south of 250th. So we did it as part of this project.
so it's been completed.
Yep.
And all the landowners are happy with the project that's done.
The landowners are extremely happy. It's been basically over a decade project, getting it all passed and to this level. So we say thank you very much.
Good.
It's much appreciated. Thank you, Colin, and thank you to the board.
You ready for a motion?
I most certainly
I'll
am.
make a motion to accept the completion report and to pay the retainage to the contractor.
I'll second it.
Emmett moved, Mr. Dollard second. Is there any discussion?
And that will be 30 days from today. And you usually send us an email to get it on the agenda to approve the final payment.
Yeah.
Hey, if there are no more questions, Kim,
Aye.
Mr. Dollard,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Kim, or
Levi.
Levi?
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Thank you for being here.
I appreciate your help.
We're now down to item number 6, the approval. of
Thanks,
August
Colin.
12th
Thank you, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve?
Emmett moved,
Second.
Mr. Clark is seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, Kim?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Dollard?
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Item number 7 is the approval of claims. Did anyone find anything? Well, for myself, I was wondering why the Board of Supervisors paid $10,000 to Discovery House. And that the local government opioid abatement paid $1,000 or $10,000. So I went to the auditor and found out that we give Discovery House $20,000, and that's how it's broken up. So that was my only question. If there's are no other questions, I take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Clark moves,
I'll second.
Kim seconds, further discussion. Hearing none, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Okay, we're now down to item 8, or 9, the county engineer, Mr. Rose.
Yeah, great.
What's that?
Is that drainage claims you guys just did?
Drainage claims, there aren't any. I should have announced that, thank you.
One board.
Jeff.
First item on our agenda this morning is to make a recommendation to approve a contract for the homeless bond with Grace Construction of Spencer, Iowa, for project L 6697330 for $1,340,092.02. This project is also known as the Lower Guard Bridge project, and the road will be closed to through traffic during construction.
Motion to approve.
Kim moves,
Second.
Mr. Clark seconds. Any discussion? Anybody want to cause a riot and vote this down? If there are no questions, Kim?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Dullard?
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Thank you, board. The second item is to make a recommendation to approve project number FMC 03073 55 30. Letting will be December 16th, 2025, the Iowa Department of Transportation, and the road will be closed to traffic through traffic during construction. This project will be tied with the M34 project. This project is the M56 road from the Highway 71-9 down to 834.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Clark moves,
Second.
Levi seconds. Further discussion?
Where'd you say that is?
M56.
M56.
But where did you say? Or like
They're
where?
up at the boat ramp by the highway, and it'll go all the way down to the south to
Oh, you said 70, you said 71, okay,
879.
yep.
If there are no further questions, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Levi,
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
and Bill is aye.
Is that whole road gonna be closed? Or will it just be in sections?
There'll be a portion where the whole road's closed while they're paving, but after it's milled off, they can still have traffic on it.
Okay,
And there's a detour on the north end, I believe at 160th, that will bring traffic around to the highway.
okay. I usually take that home, so I'm just wondering.
Okay.
Tough.
You can still get home today.
Yep, yes.
Item number 3 this morning is to make a recommendation to approve project number LFM 658-7X-30. Letting will be December 16th, 2025, the Iowa Department of Transportation, and the road will be closed to through traffic during construction. This project will be tied to the M56 project. This project is on the 3 miles of M34 north of 834.
Motion to approve.
Kim is moved,
I'll second.
Levi second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Kim?
Aye.
Levi,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
and Bill is aye.
Thank you, board. Item number 4 this morning is to get direction for you for the county engineer to sign the purchase order agreement with Asher Motor Company of Spencer, Iowa, for a 2026 Dodge Ram 2500 diesel truck, which will include a trade-in for a total cost of $57,282.
Is that in the budget?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Clark moves, Kim seconds. Further discussion? As there is none, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Good, board. Item number 5 is to get direction to the county engineer to sign a purchase agreement with Crystal Truck Equipment of Lake Crystal, Minnesota for 3 new pup trailers. For a total cost of, now the first cost that's on your sheet there is $244,863. He contacted me yesterday. He was to get the body that we spec'd out. It'd take 55 weeks just to get the body. So he provided me a new cost of $252.45 to have ones that are on hand now, which are equivalent to what we expect. So what we're asking for is a cost of $252,045 for 3 pups.
And you can handle that in your budget.
Yeah, that's in our budget.
Motion to approve.
Kim has moved,
I'll second.
Levi seconded. Further discussion?
Is that in addition to the existing pups or are they trading those in?
We're not doing any trade-ins for the pups. So this will basically give every shop 2 pups to have on hand.
Okay,
And I believe the oldest pup down Milford will go over to help for the Terrell shop to have to use.
okay.
There is no further discussion. Kim?
Aye.
Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Mr. Dullard?
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Thank you, board. Item number 6, this purchase was rebid the same specifications to all bidders. We're looking for direction for the county engineer to sign the purchase agreement with New Tech for Kubota track skid loader, which will include a trade-in for a total cost of $48,660.
This is the one that we addressed last time we met.
Yep. Basically, after the last meeting, I sat down with the foreman, we put together a spec sheet and sent it back to the same 3 bidders.
Okay. And the Kubota was the lowest bid.
Kubota was a little bid again, yes.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Clark moves,
I'll second.
Levi seconds, further discussion. Hearing none, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
And item number 7 here is our last item. I've been in contact with DOT regarding traffic investigations, because I have now 3 areas that we need to have speed limits either posted or revised. When I contacted DOT, they came back, told me the person that usually does these studies or these investigations has retired, and the position has not been filled. Underneath the Iowa code, and I talked to Mr. Goodlow about it, was that basically the board can make a change to any speed based on a engineering and traffic investigation. So what I did is I went and investigated these 3 areas, and these are the recommendations I'm going to give to you based on what I found. If you look, I gave you guys all a map of the county speed map. I know it's hard to read. So if you flip to page 2, I have 3 areas marked A, B, and C. So area A was a request by the sheriff's department. I'm making a recommendation to post a speed limit along 220th Avenue from 155th Street, which is 50 miles an hour, to 165th Street, which is 35 miles an hour, to establish a speed limit of 45 miles an hour. This is located on the west side of Center Lake. Currently, there is no speed limit. If you look on the map, it doesn't have anything designated. So this would be a new posting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Levi moves, Mr. Dullard seconds, further discussion. I assume this was not due to any fatalities or anything.
No, none I'm aware of.
I called and talked to Sheriff Balloon about this, and it's the area beyond the residential that goes out, and so he thought this was the appropriate speed for there.
There are no further questions. Levi?
Aye.
Mr. Dullard?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Thank you, board. The second area I have labeled as B. It's on the east side of Spirit Lake, or southeast side of Spirit Lake. And we're looking to make a recommendation to reduce the speed limit on 165th from 240th Avenue, which is Erie Avenue, to the 30-mile-an-hour zone from the current speed of 50 miles an hour to 35. If you look at the map now, you have 35 miles an hour on this road from Hill Avenue to Erie. And Erie Avenue from 28th Street South is also 35 miles an hour. So this would be consistent to just continue at 35 miles an hour until it gets down to that 30-mile-an-hour range. And this is the area that we looked at, there's rezoning to residential on this route.
We rezoned both sides of that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Levi moves, Mr. Dollard seconds. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dollard.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is on.
Thank you, board. The third area, the final area is labeled C. It's down near where the new school is being placed along 834 and 213th Avenue. We're making a recommendation to reduce the speed limit on 220th Street from H Avenue, residential in Milford, to the west limits of the proposed school property, and 213th Avenue from the intersection of 220th Street to the north limits of the proposed school from the current speed of 30 and 45 mile an hour to 25, and then step up the speed traveling west and north from that location.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Clark moves,
I'll second.
Mr. Dollard seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Dollard.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is on.
I'll get with my staff and get these postings in change or in place. That's all we have today. Thank you, board.
Thanks,
Well,
Jeff.
thanks, Jeff.
Now down to item number 10, general discussion, board and committee report. Kim?
I had a hunger coalition meeting. Food pantries are busy. A lot of concern about cuts on what we're seeing nationally for, I guess, SNAP programs and some of the other programs that are going on. Lake Park pantry served 58 families, 130 people. Milford served 91 families, 194 people. Upper Des Moines continues to be busy, serving about 95 people or 95 families, excuse me, per week. So they're busy as well. Spirit Life served 56 families and 147 people. And they are very graciously filling in for Upper Des Moines during they have 1 week off a month during the summer months, and they've been filling in and doing a terrific job with that. Backpack programs at the school are steady. We're looking at offering additional services at the food pantries when folks come to get their food, and providing other opportunities like perhaps legal aid or directions of where to get help with mental health, those types of things. I also delivered 40 meals to residents in Terrell this last week. We had a safety meeting here in the county. We discussed a few minor incidences that occurred. There was no loss of time. Thank you to the department heads for making sure that incident reports are completed and reported. That's vital, especially with workers' comp. CPR trainings have been completed along with ALICE trainings. Workers' compensation did a site visit here, and we got a clean bill of health, which is very unusual, we understand. So congratulations to everybody here. Looking at upcoming training sessions that include de-escalation training with folks that are coming in and being welcomed by a number of the offices. And just a warning, there will be a fire drill in September. You actually will have to go to the basement.
The basement. You
No,
want us to stay in the building?
I don't know which one we're doing. I can't tell you, it's a surprise.
Oh.
You probably have to go to your
This is a
sites.
Fire drill, and we're
Fire
gonna go in the basement.
Yeah, that was tornado, wasn't it?
Oh.
Fire drill, you gotta go. Thank you for being alert. Silver Lake Park Improvement Association had their annual meeting. It was held at the Lake Park Community Building. They introduced their board members, Morgan Vigdal. We've had her at other meetings with Clamp. Gave a presentation on water quality. Lakeside Lab has 26 years of records that show about our water quality here. They approved some more grant requests for shoreline stabilization, and they're continuing to work on getting fish barriers, which would help keep the carp out. I've had, in fact, talked to Jeff just before the meeting this morning. I've had a number of meetings about county roads. With work on Highway 9 and with the bridge work that's being done, detours have definitely been stressful on our gravel roads. And thanks to Jeff and crew for doing their best to stay ahead or try and keep up with that. Dust has been an issue. We're trying to deal with those things for safety and some of the other things that are going on. Had a wellness team meeting this morning. We gotta get to work. We've only got 26 people or 29% that have completed their physicals. I did mine this last week, hasn't been reported yet. There are a few folks, it takes a little while to get it reported. I guess the big message I'm sending is, please make your appointment, because we're seeing that they're scheduling wellness physicals about 6 weeks out. And remember, this program ends October 31st. And we need 80% participation to keep our insurance rates low. So please do that. We had 67% of our people do the online. And remember, for us to get any type of our bonus payout of completion, we need 80%. So we need a few more folks to, and honestly, you guys, it takes 2 minutes to get online and fill that report out. So please, and I'm pleading with all department heads to do that. Please, let's see here. Oh, on Wednesday, we have a wellness luncheon here. And please come and support all the other folks in this. We're gonna really make a push to get everybody to be part of this program and the success that we need to get done. That's what I have, sir.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
A couple questions.
Yes.
How are the food pantries doing for the amount of food?
You know, it was amazing this last week, at the Milford one anyway. I can't speak to all, and Steve, you can speak to obviously Spirit Life, but we delivered a tremendous amount of food this last time. I think they're seeing that there's some real concern about getting food, and this last time, Food Bank really stepped up and had a tremendous amount of food for folks to get for families. So where that goes forward, the challenge is going to be, these food banks are going to get busier because some of the other programs, you know, just aren't able to keep up.
Well, I was just thinking, I saw a Feed America commercial on TV, and I was thinking, we as citizens are gonna have to step up on this stuff like that.
Definitely agree. I'm hoping, and we've had great response from folks in the past to help support the Hunger Coalition or the food banks, or gee, even the churches to step up and really make a difference, because it's going to be an interesting winter.
Well, thank you for your work.
You're welcome.
Mr. Dollar.
I'd have to second that on how long it takes to get a notice of your physical from one place to the other place. Form to report, it seemed like it took forever for mine, and I'm still not sure it's there. And I did that in July. So I think I've completed all of mine, so, and it's easy.
Yep.
It's easy. Okay, so after our last meeting on the 12th, I attended the Hunger Coalition with Kim. And on the 14th, Mr. Clark and I attended the Dickinson County Taxpayers Association. Since I asked him the bulk of the questions, I'll let him fill you in on anything else that came from there. And on Friday, Megan, Levi, and I attended the meeting with the sanitation district and a few of their board members. And I thought it was both productive and informative of what all they've got going on. And I'm not going to speak for Levi, but I think that we need to get more involved. The county needs to get more involved in some of the stuff with and that's why we formed the commission. On Monday, the 18th, I helped unload food products for Upper Des Moines for distribution. And in that evening, I helped them distribute the products. Day one was good, 20 households, 33 people. On the morning of the 19th, we unloaded the next truckload of stuff that come from Upper Des Moines, their contract. And again, early evening, I helped distribute those products at 15 households, 28 people. On the 20th in the early afternoon, we did it on that last day, we did it in the afternoon. And I helped distribute those products as well, because I just have an interest in that. And we had 14 households, 36 people. The 3-day total of just the Upper Des Moines was 49 households and 97 people. And on the 21st, I attended the safety meeting with Kim. On Saturday, the 23rd, to help with our church food pantry and our normal time and monthly distribution. And including the Upper Des Moines, and what ours was a total of 106 households and 198 people. And I have a few more meetings this week, and then some help that I talked to you about, one of the constituents in the district that we work with, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clark.
On the 13th, excuse me, the 13th, I attended the Arnold Park City Council and discussed with them the ideas about resurrecting the Council of Governments and unified zoning in the county. On the 13th, we had a conservation board meeting. They have raised their recycling fees. I don't know if you all saw the publication on that. The cost of chipping of the trees that's being brought in has just skyrocketed. You know, those are a big expensive machine, and repairs are really high priced, and it's just like everything else. The cost of doing business is going up, and the recycling has raised all their prices to try to cover that. You know, so it's not a drain on the county, so that the people that are actually using that have to pay for that service. The Spring Run shooting range is currently under renovation and is closed until further notice. If you haven't been out there, they've done a lot of berm work and taken the old shooting tubes out and trying to make it a much more user friendly. They've moved the shotgun area away from the wetlands so that when people go out to shoot claybirds, that there's not lead shot going into any wetlands. It's going on the dry ground. So,
Steve, are you able to just drive out there and look and watch?
yeah, just drive out there and have a look. So, but they should be done before too long, you know, and that we've been kind of waiting to get that done for a couple of years. Out of the Conservation Commission, the Nature Playscape renovation received a $500,000 matching donation. They'll match up to $500,000 of donations by the rest of the community to build a new playscape out there. The old one was built a number of years ago, and of course it's all out of logs and stuff like that. Well, you know, logs laying on the ground, they rot. That's getting to the point it needs done. So they're hoping to receive enough donations along with this $500,000 matching that they can complete that playscape renovation. On the 14th, I went to the Dickinson County taxpayers meeting, answered a few questions. They usually have a good meeting and try to keep you on your toes. I did receive from the state taxpayers their monthly or maybe quarterly magazine, and it pointed out that all the school districts in the state, and where they ranked on 3rd grade and reading and 8th grade math, and both Spirit Lake and Okoboji were in Arnold's Park were ranked, you know, or they didn't really rank them, but they did well in the number of kids or the percentage of kids that were above average in those areas. And I think one of the things we need to focus on and you know, as citizens is not how good they did, but you know, most of them were in the 24 to 26% that couldn't do math at that level or read at that level, you know, and we need to bring, you know, those other kids are doing fine. It's these down here that we need to bring up to where they're competitive in those levels. And you know, as citizens, you know, we need to tell our school boards, you know, that they're doing good, but not good enough. So,
And don't forget to tell the teachers.
yeah, that's right. So,
I know like with Okoboji, my kids, they call it P2R and P2M, which is the pathways to reading and pathways to math, and it'll have a special for that
Yeah.
child to go off and have the extra help too.
yeah, so they're doing real well, so we can be proud of that, so. Then after lunch, on the 14th, I attended the Arnold's Park groundbreaking for their new city office and fire department complex. The 15th, I did the Yes Board in Cherokee. Currently, they have 13 clients. The average for July was 10.29 per day, which is down a little bit, but that's pretty normal for July. You know, people are on vacation and things like that. They don't have as much activity down there. Transports are coming back. Once they got the schedule and pricing out to all the different entities that, you know, and how much lower they are than where a lot of them had been sent before. So transportation's picking back up. Financials were good, and employment down there is stable. So I was gone last week. I had to make a quick trip out to New York State and didn't have anything going on.
Okay, very good. Levi.
Wednesday the 13th, I sat in on the solar webinar. Megan had gave us a heads up on, and that was interesting. I learned that we have lots of recommendations from the state that they would expect us to follow, whether we want to follow them or not. And so that was repeated numerous times. On the 14th, I had that with the corridor. I was a judge at the OEI in Arnold's Park there, and at the Oak Woods at the Bible Conference. Yeah, Arnold's Park. That ended up being more for, I think, my job across the street, but it was still you know, good for me to be out in the community and working with younger kids and their ideas for entrepreneurship. On Friday, we had the meeting that Mr. Dellard mentioned at the sanitation district, and yeah, learning a lot, listening to Megan and Mr. Anderson talk back and forth about the needs and the expectations, and I thought it was a very good meeting. And I do think that I agree with Mr. Dellard that moving forward, I think there's lots of opportunities for the county. The 19th, Tuesday the 19th, I sat in on the fluoride meeting that the Milford hosted. They have one more coming up in September before they make their decision. On the 25th, yesterday, I had city council, and then I plan to be at the wellness follow-up on here tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure that I've done everything. Okay, good.
You're good.
I'm yeah, I thought I did, but. Okay. Yeah.
Well, since I've been spending a number of weeks in Arizona, I didn't have very many official duties. I did go to the veterans meeting. I'm starting to worry about that group a little bit. There were only 4 of us there, that included Spring. And we had Tom, the chairman, and the fellow that's writing grants for us, and myself. And the main topic was from our grant writer to use some of the funds that they have gotten to get grants. A lot of grants are matching grants. And that was the big thing. I was sorry I missed the SLPA annual meeting because Steve Anderson was the main speaker. And I wanted to hear about his lift stations, especially the one down by what we call the fishing park. So anyway, that's what I had. Crowd have anything for us?
I use cap. My granddaughter calls it the fishing park also.
That's where I got the
Yeah.
name from my granddaughters.
So ISAC was last week, and I know, Steve, I think you were the supervisor that was planning on attending, and you had a.
Yeah.
You couldn't be there. So there, and I believe you knew about the meeting that was afterwards for the counties that for the lawsuit that's going to the Supreme Court for Shelby County. Steve Kinkle and Corey Kozinski.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one other, I didn't recognize his name, and I think Austin Hike all helped kind of put that together.
Dean Kless,
Pardon?
Dean Kless.
Yes, yes. And so they're working on a 48 or a 28E agreement for counties to come together and help pay or do an amicus brief towards that court case. And so they're hoping that Dickinson County will be one of those to join that amicus brief. And they're looking at getting, it sounds like they're looking at about 25 counties right now. And so it'll only be about, at this point, if they can get to 25, it'll be about $1,000 per county. Hopefully we can get more than 25, but we're working hard to bring those counties together because this is home rule. It's not just the CO2 pipeline. This could affect so many other things, right, Kim? Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully some of those other counties that aren't on the route right now will see the gravity of this case, so.
I've been in contact with Steve a couple of times about this, and as soon as they get something put together, he's gonna forward it to me so I can present it to the whole board.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think what Bud, I talked to Bud Germelin this morning, and what Bud said was Tim Whipple thought it would be within the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
so right after Labor Day probably, so, which I can't believe that's here already. So, thank you, guys.
Kind of along those lines, I don't know, has everyone on the board received the invite to the core program that they're putting on up to the community building, community center? It's on pipeline safety and stuff. Okay, I'll forward all that message to everybody.
Okay.
It's coming up in September 16th. And if you can't attend in person, there'll be an online way you can attend and place online to register. So, but I'll forward that to everybody.
This is going to be any different than the pipeline safety messages we get every year.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure, but after what, they've been doing work on the one south of Milford, digging that through there and stuff and
Which I did find out about. Basically, those are pads. So that like they can put rebar on them when they do the actual foundations.
well, no, that's for the wind turbines, the pads. This is the pipeline that
You're right.
they're looping around the Milford area.
Yeah.
And hooking onto another one kind of for a backup service line,
Okay.
as I understand it, so.
Is that gonna affect the bike trail?
They have the first easement, doesn't matter. Bike trail has to deal with it, so.
There was an accident. Just made me think how important our bike trails are, but doesn't matter how many we have and how great they are if you're gonna ride your scooter on the highway. We've got an amazing trail system that, we spend so much money on, and people are riding their stand-up upright scooters on the highway.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah.
It is exercise. Now,
We gotta use them.
yes. If there's nothing else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Kim has moved.
Second.
Mr. Clark has seconded. Further discussion?
Just a reminder, we're back to every week now.
Yep.
Starting
Thank
next
goodness.
week.
Okay. There was no discussion, so Kim. Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. We're officially adjourned at 10:24.